Before we start today's show, all of us at Sound Up definitely send our thoughts, our prayers, healing vibes, a lot of water to everyone in LA who's being affected by these horrific wildfires still raging. We've never seen anything quite like it. This is a real tragedy. It's hit the music community and everyone in the area really hard. So to our friends, our listeners, to everyone in harm's way, we hope that you're safe, and we're thinking about you. And if you want to help, no matter where you are in the country, check out our website, sounduppod.com, for a list of outlets where you can contribute.
This is Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters.
I'm Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
This week on Sound Up, Rick Springfield joins us to talk about wildfires in LA, the worst wildfire in U.S. history, in fact. I was there too, and we'll both give you a first-hand take on what life is like at the moment in LA. Firsthand. Rick's also going to fill us in on his musical plans for 2025, including a massive box set.
And we also have our new music picks of the week and some reviews and questions from you, our Sound Up Pod squad. But we've got to start, like everybody else, talking about the fires. And Mark, you just got back. You were out in the LA area for the last couple of weeks. So just start with what did you see? What were you going through?
Right. I was quite far away from the first fire that we heard about, the Palisades fire. I was probably 45 minutes or so north near Camarillo. And as far north as that is, if you have any sense of the LA area, the people I was staying with there, they got the word on Monday that Tuesday their power was going to be shut down. So, of course, we all had to leave. My wife and I were out, and I was doing some stuff and coming back to that house where all of our stuff was. I had to drive back there. And it was like a bomb had dropped in LA. I was on the 118, like a parking lot. The 101 going north, like a parking lot. It was crazy to see everyone fleeing the city. After we got our stuff that was in Camarillo, we started looking for hotel rooms. We looked for hotel rooms in Camarillo. Nope, sold out. All the hotels. Santa Barbara, sold out. So we wound up being able to get to Westlake Village, where my daughter lives, and stayed there. They have their power lines in the ground. So even though they were on a warning to evacuate,
sure,
they weren't shutting down power. And I've spoken to so many of my friends. Half of them didn't know whether their house was burned down or not. Roger, you know Rick Krim. Alan, you know him too. Rick Krim, a longtime friend of mine. He's with the Rock Hall, and he and his family left and went to the desert, went to Palm Springs, not knowing what was happening to their house, as is the case with so many. And one of the rare people, he told me yesterday that he was able to get back, and he hired a moving van and moved stuff out of his house and put it in storage, and then went back out to the desert because people still don't know if their house is going to be burned down.
No, we're not done. I mean, as we're recording this, between now and when this airs, there's the talk is that the winds are going to pick back up.
Yes.
And that's the piece of it that to me is so unimaginable is raging wildfires is one thing. Raging wildfires and hurricane level winds
the Santa Anas.
But at these 100-mile-an-hour winds,
those are called devil winds.
Yeah.
I mean, the Santa Anas are bad enough. They're hot winds off the desert that blow towards California. And what the effect of that, aside from it, just high winds and fire don't work together. The effect, and I've seen people describe this, fires usually burn up a mountain. These fires were being blown by the Santa Anas, so that they were blowing down the mountain towards people's homes, towards these neighborhoods. People described it as like it was alive, fire shooting out of the fires as they approached their house.
So two things
terrifying.
From your own. First of all, I know you have a bunch of family.
Yep.
That's part of why you were out there, and you said you were with your daughter. Was everybody's, what was communication between everybody's different experiences? And what about even for where you were, what about the smoke? What about the air?
Yeah. Everyone, even if the fires aren't near you, everyone is talking about the air quality. It is bad. in most all of the area. Obviously, we're talking Santa Ana winds, so winds are blowing, but they had died down and people had a chance to sort of reassess. But the idea of communicating, it took me a while to get to my friends who lived in Bel Air, people who live, I know, in Palisades, because these people all had to exit in minutes. It's just, I have a hard time because I have never firsthand experienced it. What is that? They get the notice. You have to get out now. That's grab your dog and whatever you can hold in your arms and get the hell out. It's terrifying. And to the amount of people, the amount celebrities, who I've been reading about this morning, Taylor Goldsmith from Dawes posted, everybody in the band lost everything. Yep. And already Dawes fans have posted a GoFundMe, which is happening quite a bit. A lot of people are doing GoFundMes. It's these people probably, maybe, rich people, up in the Palisades. These people got thrown out of their insurance plan a month or a year or more ago. Right. $6 million home, doesn't matter if it's in ashes. It's a mess.
Well, that's the bigger, I mean, the notion that it is, an uninsurable, I mean, as in with Florida, when you start talking about uninsurable areas because the frequency of disaster is too great. I can't even imagine thinking about the rebuild, because it's also not just, it's the schools, it's the hospitals, it's the post office. Like, what does a rebuild look like for people to be able to get back to their lives?
Yeah.
I can't begin to imagine.
And how do you think about a rebuild till you solve this problem of making sure there is water available from when things like this happen?
Well, as people have probably been hearing, the mayor of Los Angeles has been taking serious heat, as has the fire commissioner. But the fact is that the fire department has been underfunded for years and years and years and years. They don't have the personnel.
And the story that there is no water system in the world that could have handled what this was.
Absolutely. And let's just talk about the Palisades fire.
Right.
You just talk about just that one fire. Not enough.
And because of the winds, the helicopters and the planes that can drop water couldn't take off.
Right. It's really, oftentimes disasters hit, but you don't, as weird as this may sound, you don't usually hear about this kind of total destruction in great neighborhoods. I mean, it sounds odd for me to say, but the Palisades is it's not all wealthy. There's plenty of middle-class people who are ruined as well. But a number of people who have, as I said, $6 million homes that are in rubble, entire neighborhoods flat. I'm sure people have seen the footage. And imagine, there's maybe, I've seen some chimneys, but imagine there's no plumbing showing. There's no tubs. Where do you think they are? They frickin' melted.
They're ashes. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing that was really scary to hear was people describing the sound of the fire and how loud that was, which you don't think of that, but it was terrifying to hear.
Well, Rick Springfield is going to be joining us. He was one of the first calls I made to see if he was okay. He'll tell us more. He was evacuated, and he has some experiences. I'm sure he'll be talking about it when he joins us in a bit.
So a couple of ways, already stories about how this is impacting the music community. Obviously, we're talking about, this is LA we're talking about a hub for not just Hollywood, but for the music community. And we're going into awards season. There's a lot of spectacle, glitz, and glamour that is either has already been postponed or is in question. There was talk over the weekend about whether the Grammys, which are in 3 weeks, would be delayed or postponed. I, just as we were coming on to record, got an email from that went out to Recording Academy members from Harvey Mason, the head of the Recording Academy, saying that in close coordination with local authorities to ensure public safety and responsible use of area resources, the 67th Grammy Awards telecast on CBS on February 2nd will proceed as planned. This year's show will carry a renewed sense of purpose, raising additional funds to support wildlife relief efforts and honoring the bravery and dedication of first responders who risk their lives to protect ours. So as of now, in addition to $1 million donation that the Recording Academy and Music Cares made to launch the fire relief effort, the Grammys are planned to go forward. Obviously, things can continue to change, and we'll see what happens. But that there's a lot of talk around whether that should move, as a bunch of the Critics Circle Awards or whatever, some that were coming up this week have all been pushed down the road. Movie premieres, some TV series premieres, a lot of that stuff has been moved. But as of this recording, the official word is the Grammys will continue on schedule.
That is wild considering what is happening out there. But I guess we'll see. I think that could change. I think it's entirely possible.
Could change. I mean, it is 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But how many people who are displaced or who don't have homes? And again, that's not just the artists. That's crew for the the crew working on the show, the people putting the cameras together, the everything that's involved. How can all of that stay together to get through a production like that? But this is decisive word for now. Related to that, there was word announced over the weekend that the Irving Azoff family, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame most powerful manager in the business, is putting together a benefit concert at the new Intuit Dome, the home of the LA Clippers, a fire aid show scheduled for January 30th, obviously scheduled for the weekend of the Grammys to take advantage of people coming in and, what will be going on around that. So these feel a little bit that they're kind of tied together.
Right.
No details yet on lineup or on anything like that, but that date of Jan 30 for this first big benefit event.
And Irving has gotten together with not only is Shelley working from the Azoff family producing, but they've gotten Live Nation and AEG together to do the two biggest promotion companies in the country to help with this. I can't imagine who's going to turn up. And another thing I was thinking about, I mentioned I was looking for hotel rooms. There's over 100,000 people in LA who are displaced. The hotels, they got to be thin. It's got to be tough for all these people coming into town. I can't imagine.
Or not even coming into, people who are in town and out of their,
out of
that's
their own
what
homes,
I mean.
Right.
Out of their own homes.
So part of what we're hearing, though, is that there are a number of events that have been cleared, right? A number of premieres canceled. The Critics' Choice Awards, AFI Awards, and the AARP movies for grown-ups postponed, expected to resume later on in the month. The concert set up 3 days before the Grammys, the one that we're talking about. So we'll see how contributions go on that one.
All of this will obviously be an evolving situation, just as what's happening on the ground is an evolving situation. People are trying to get wheels turning and keep business as usual. Clearly, even from that statement, if the Grammys happen, it's going to be with a focus towards fundraising and support, but the logistics are not don't look so easy.
The story in the Hollywood Reporter, Alan, I know you forwarded that to us this morning, talking about this, a shared spreadsheet circulating through the music industry has swelled to over 100 names of people impacted by the fires. Billie Eilish's publicist, Foo Fighters guitarist, and a guest just a couple of weeks ago here on the show, Chris Shiflett, Sting's son, Joe Sumner. All of these people are impacted, and
impacted to the point of Alex Baker, who's Billie Eilish's publicist, and Duran Duran's publicist, burned to the ground. House is gone, and she was posting all of that, as it was happening. And I was just seeing my feed was full of that, not necessarily, people that are close friends and firsthand, but at those kinds of contacts, those kinds of people that we work with every day who are out there just, decimated by this. And it really was seeing this, not only seeing this document go, but watching it grow and watching names just being added and added and added to it.
We should mention too, the Recording Academy and the charitable arm, the Music Cares, has announced that it is pledging $1 million in support for music professionals impacted by the fires. I had been reading that Music Cares is also offering, for anyone who has worked in the music business for 5 years, is offering financial assistance. I think $500 in like food credit and $1,500. It's not a lot, but it's something when everything you have is in ashes.
And I've seen, I don't know all the details on this, but keep seeing things like Guitar Center, I know, has been posting that they are trying to replace instruments that are lost in the fire. And then there are things I'm sure you saw on that list, Bob Clearmountain, the legendary mixer master, his house and studio are gone.
And studio, right.
That studio is gone. Think about what tapes, what, drafts, what recording, like what was in there. I have no idea. I haven't read what's backed up, what was archived, what was in a safe space. But, losing those kind of facilities.
Universal lost a ton of stuff years ago from a major fire, masters and stuff. So it's not only houses, it's it's like you said, it's these tapes from everything gets so impacted.
What we learned from that is also how much stuff is just in garages of buildings that were old studios or still on shelves, or, just how much of the recorded history was just kind of is floating around. And then stuff like this happens and it's gone. Then those things don't exist anymore. So it's, I know we'll be hearing more. This is only the tip of the iceberg for what those kind of losses are going to look like. What we're going to be hearing and finding out is, I'm sure, just going to continue to be enormous losses for people's own individual lives and for our history.
I did want to mention, the somewhat odd thing for us and for people, in the biz who we're going to talk to is everyone has many stories about someone close to them who has been impacted by this. I wanted to mention Chris Doritas, who I've known forever, longtime KCRW DJ, an incredible music supervisor, and he lost everything. Business manager Tina Fassbender, Jimmy Kimmel Live music mixer, Mac McInlay. It's really, I haven't been able to get past this yet.
Yeah, I know.
So many of my friends are, no matter how wealthy you are, how do you wrap your head around ashes? Nothing left.
Right. And some of them don't know. Like our friends like Michael DeBar, who is, keeping people updated on his situation and has been evacuated, but, assumes his house is okay at the moment, I think, and so many others who you see them posting from hotels or from wherever they are right now because they can't go home. They don't know if they have a home. It's crazy.
People talking about homes that they had lived in for 30 and 40 and 50 years gone. These, people who we work with, who we deal with on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. These people are all affected. I do want to repeat, I want to encourage people to go to our website and check out. We're going to give a list of places where you can donate. I know also I've seen, I'm 3,000 miles away now, but there is also lists if you want to volunteer. One of the big things as far as battling these fires is there's just not enough manpower. I was reading that the fire department from Ghana just landed in Canada and are heading down to California. That kind of thing is happening all over.
Zelensky has offered for Ukrainian troops to come over. Can you
believe that?
If you saw that.
Yes.
And of course, already the Mexican and Canadian workers, firefighters, and volunteers who are in there. Draw your own conclusions about what a world community can mean when we're looking to help each other instead of keep each other away. So seeing people say it, you see the best and the worst of humanity that comes out. You see the looters who come out and, still can't tell which are real stories and which are urban legend stories about that. But you see, people do desperate things. And then you see people do really, deeply humane, dangerous, heartfelt efforts like that.
The outpouring that I've seen, that we've all seen in social media, for people just putting it out there. I'm here. I have help. You have horses that you had to let go. We will board your horses for free. That kind of thing. It's so much of that outpouring on social media. It really is the juxtaposition of the horror of these fires and the beauty of these people coming out for their friends and neighbors and people that they don't even know.
And I say, I don't know if it sounds, I certainly don't intend it to sound selfish or trivial, but given the location, what the impact on the culture industry is going to be what TV production, film production, music touring is going to look like in the near future. It's going to be very dramatically impacted.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Everything is going to have to shut down. Nobody can be there. Nobody can get there, as we see what happens with air quality, with, all of the lingering impact of this. And we know from, the Canadian wildfires that blew down to New York City last year, we know how long the ash in the air after September 11th affected, the health of New York City. These are not things that go away one day, 1 week to the next. And given the world in which we operate, as you said, all the people just that we work with, much less the way that fans out, this is something that we're going to feel through our corner of the universe for a while.
So, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Saw somebody say, can we, I'm not interested in renewing my subscription to 2025. I had the 7-day trial and I do not need to see any more of this.
I'm going to pass.
I'm going to cancel.
So before we break, we should note one other loss
Please,
in the music world that happened within the last few days, which is that one of the legends and icons of the 60s soul revolution, Sam Moore from Sam and Dave, passed away at the age of 89, and a huge loss. One of the people from that generation who continued to fly the flame, continued to be there and show up, many, many years after Soul Man and Hold On, I'm Coming and Thank You and all the incredible Sam and Dave songs that he went out and did the stuff with Springsteen. He was there for, every time there was a celebration of that era or somebody trying to still connect and, touch that history. He was really the guy who was there still standing up and representing.
Yeah. That's the other half of the duo. And man, he will be missed for sure. All right. God, it's exhausting to even talk about this stuff.
We look for. We're not here just to bring you down, but this is.
It's true. We have up tempo stuff. Rick Springfield is going to join us in a couple of minutes, and yes, we are going to talk about how he was impacted. I know that his home, at least as of this past weekend when I spoke to him, his home was all right, okay, and safe. He wasn't. We'll talk more about that. And we'll talk about the good stuff he's got coming up for 2025, and there's quite a bit of it. All next on Sound Up. Welcome back. This is Sound Up, and as promised, Rick Springfield is our guest today, and I guess you know this guy as an 80s heartthrob who wishes he had Jesse's girl. But his body of work since shows that he is quite a bit more than just a pop singer. He's continually pushed himself to write and release new music, putting out albums like The Snake King that leaned heavily on his electric blues guitar playing. He's spoken honestly in his music and in his memoir about his lifelong battle with depression. The memoir, Late, Late at Night, is listed in the top 25 music memoirs of all time by Rolling Stone. And coming up in February, Rick Springfield will release Greatest Hits Volume 2 with all kinds of special packages. And Rick is here to tell us about it in the car, fleeing Santa Barbara and heading to his home. He is in the LA area, so we're talking wildfires. Rick Springfield.
Yeah. Hi, dude. How you doing?
Welcome. So tell me right now, what are you
seeing right now? Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of cars, and I'm hoping I don't see any cops because I'm driving really fast. And the wind is just starting to pick up. I'm getting near. I'm probably about like an hour from my house, but it's insane. We've been caught. We have no gas and no electricity, which is, fortunately we still have a house, which some of my friends have lost everything, lost the house and everything they've ever collected. And I could go on forever about how the government has totally screwed this whole thing. And there's no insurance, no one's got insurance. They allowed all the insurance companies to pull out of all the dangerous areas. And of course, that's where we need it. And they got California Fair Plan, which doesn't have enough money, certainly for one street full of houses in Pacific Palisades. So it's a frigging nightmare. And And in the chopper now, I'm in the chopper above Malibu, and it's crazy. It's just crazy. And I've been trying to contact the gas company to get our gas turned on and they wouldn't give me a date. Right? The kids, I'm sorry, we can't tell you. And my neighbor calls up and says they're here. They're in the street. So I'm racing back to try and get home in time to have the gas hooked up. It's crazy.
That's a good sign, Rick, because they'd be turning the gas off if they thought that the fires were headed in your direction.
No,
right?
I know. I think unless the winds are going to pick up really severely through Wednesday, I'm concerned about that. But it's stayed away from our neighborhood for sure, and hasn't gotten any closer since like it was at its worst. So I'm hoping.
How close did you get at what point? I mean, were you able to look out the window and see them, see flames close by, or what was your own thing?
Real dark smoke over the hills, but the fire before this and before that one, we lost fences and a gazebo burned down, and we actually the fire got so close the paint blistered on our house. So we've definitely been in. We know what it's like, and I just got this pool. I have a pool pump that's been sitting there for 5 years, and the neighbor just finally helped me get it all running. So I'm ready, man.
Just in time to have it filled with ash.
Yes. No. I'm going to stay. If it gets near me, I'm going to stay and fight the damn fire.
Oh, Rick, please.
So this may be the last time you speak to me, Mark.
Oh my God.
So
that's
been good knowing
not
you.
A great idea.
Have you been? I'm sure you're in touch with friends and with people nearby. But I just keep thinking about what the impact of this is going to be on everything that comes out of that area and for how long, and knowing how long the air is going to be dangerous and productions have to shut down. And what do you have any sense of what the coming months look like?
It's going to be just absolute depression. Everyone's depressed. I mean, people have lost everything. And those of us who haven't had our houses burned, PCH looks like, I haven't been down there, but I've seen videos, and all the houses that I thought were safe along the water line and across from the highway, they're gone. They're just burned. And there's major restaurants and landmarks that we know really well. They're gone. They're just, it's insane.
The Real Inn and Moon Shadows, both gone. People who know the Malibu area.
Moon Shadows was there when I first moved here in 1985, and it's been like a go-to place, pickup place or whatever. And it's gone. And that's like right on the water across from the highway, and opposite them on the highway is a rock face. I don't even know how the fire got to them.
Exactly. That's what people are saying. The winds have been blowing the fire in the opposite direction that it usually would go. So you're right, Rick. I know exactly what you're talking about, and maybe many people do. South of Moon Shadows, that space that we would drive along Pacific Coast Highway, and as we were going north, and we would look to our left, and there were all these incredible homes right on the beach. Well, it is leveled now.
Yeah, you can see the water now from the from PCH, but it's not a good solution,
Right.
Unbelievable. And I have a couple of very good friends that lost their home and lost everything, and they sent photos of before and during. And there's one friend, Jeff Moscow, who's actually involved in this promotion of this new Greatest Hits album. He showed it was a beautiful little house in Pacific Palisades, and the next photo, it's full of fire, and it's just heartbreaking to see stuff like that.
Oh gosh. Well, obviously we're hoping that you stay safe and that the fire doesn't get anywhere near you.
If not, I'm going to go down swinging.
Oh man!
Don't be a hero, Ricky. Don't be a hero,
Ricky. Don't be a hero. Thanks, Alan.
We should wrap this interview up soon.
Well, we got you on the line. I'm glad that we got your perspective on the fires, and that you and yours are okay, at least for the moment. But we do have this Greatest Hits Volume 2 album that I wanted to talk to you about. It's coming out in February.
Sounds kind of frivolous to talk about that in lieu of all the.
I know.
I feel kind of embarrassed,
It's okay.
Life's got to go on.
For distraction,
No, I get it, but it's like, I have friends that have lost everything, and hey, folks, by the way, I have a greatest hits coming out. But I get it. We can't dwell on it the whole time. So
it's true. We all have friends who literally have lost everything. If you're on social media at all, Rick, I'm sure you've been seeing so many artists have been posting about the stuff that they have lost. But let's be positive. Let's hope by mid-February everything is great and everything is built back up again and the air is clean, etc., just in time for the release of Greatest Hits Volume 2.
Well, all things pass. All things pass.
So there's a couple of interesting things that people should know about on the record. One of them is the first release of Party at the Beach Bar with Sammy Hagar. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that tune, why that's a special tune?
During COVID, Sammy called me. I've known Sammy since I've done everything for you.
He's done everything for you.
Yeah, he's done everything for me, and in return, he did say that I've done everything for you. Put his daughters through college, so it was a fair trade.
Yes.
So he called up and said, I hear you're interested. I've heard you've been looking to get into the alcohol business, and I have a rum company that I'd love you to be partners in. And he, it was a kind of a natural thing to do because we're both in music. We have a relationship anyway, and the rum's amazing. I tried it, especially there's one called Cola Spice that I should be sending to anyone who has heartbreak over the fires here. It'll numb you up real good.
All right.
But it's so I joined Sammy on the Beach Bar Rum, it's called, and just as a fun thing, I just wrote this song about it. Not really like an ad. It's just about actually the song's about if the world's going to go down. So let's drink and party and kiss the rockets as they land. It's kind of like that, which is fairly appropriate right now.
Yeah.
And so I very timely. I recorded the song and sent it to Sammy, and he did some stuff on it. And it just, it's just a fun track. I played it live quite a few times, actually.
Yeah.
I'm curious. This is a look at the last 25 years. I mean, this is 99 until up to a new single, pretty much. And you've done a lot of retrospective tours, themed tour, different ways of putting this music together. But, does this make you look at this phase, this chapter of the career in any different way when you look across, okay, this is what the 21st century has been like?
Yeah, I've been aware the last couple of years that the last bunch of albums that these songs came off are actually the best records I've ever done, in my opinion. I've always strived to make the best record I can make and not just put something out, for the fans to have. I mean, it's a lot of work goes into all these albums. And Jeff Moscow, actually, who was one of the guys who is involved in it, and like I said, who lost his house in the Palisades, he said, every album I do is different. There's no, I switch things up, and I never realized that, but they are. I think the only time I ever really bounced from one album to the next, aware of the last album, was probably Success Hasn't Spoiled Me Yet, off the success of, Working Class Dog.
But even
that,
yeah.
Yeah, even that's a sonically a different sounding record, but the songs are kind of similar. But I'm very proud of the quality of the work, and these are a lot of fan favorites of the songs that we do live.
It's so true, Rick, that the lineup of the tunes on here are stuff that we have been seeing you play for so many years in concert. And one of the ones that you have added to the set, that the last time I saw you, which was November at 80s in the Sand, you added a live version of Little Demon, which is from the Snake King album. Talk about records that you've gotten better and better. I love that record. Venus in Overdrive, title track written about your wife, another incredible record. Your output since the 80s is intense. Can you speak to a bit of, again, special stuff on the album, like the live version of Little Demon, or the Sound City thing, the Man That Never Was? Talk about that one for a moment.
The Man That Never Was the song I wrote with Dave Grohl and a couple of the Foo Fighters. And it really came out well. It was it's one of those weird things. Dave wanted to do a documentary on Sound City, which is where Nirvana recorded Nevermind, and a lot of people recorded. Tom Petty and Foreigner and everybody recorded there at the 80s. And I did Jesse's Girl and Working Class Dog there and in the 80s. And so he wanted to get all the people who were involved with the studio board from A that he bought, actually. It was kind of the pinpoint of the story. But it was everybody's recollections of those great times at this horrible warehouse-type place that just happened to have a great 2 studios that for no reason sounded amazing.
Quick, before we let you get out of here, also, we should mention all the deluxe packaging. You've got this book of photos, autographed, that's in here. You got a turntable mat. I mean, you've got all kind of stuff. Was that fun to think about, other stuff that you could do to grow this into a bigger sort of project?
Yeah, I always like to add extra things. And actually, Jeff Muskow, I keep bringing up poor Jeff Muskow with these lost
hero, I guess.
Yeah, he is a friggin' hero, and his partner in this place called Label Logic that they help artists promote things. Jay Gilbert, he took all the photos and been taking live photos and studio shots of me for the past 20 years, and it's some great shots that nobody's ever seen. You can only do a whole photo session of like 50, 60 photos, and you pick one for an 8x10. So there's all these other shots that nobody's seen. And he put it together in this book, and it's really cool. It's a coffee table book, which I never understood why they call it a coffee table, because outside of Starbucks, I don't know what a freaking coffee table is. But and I wrote a foreword that actually I wrote and then read it when I was signing them, and it's kind of rude. I don't know what I was thinking.
It's second thoughts about that part. Okay.
Yeah, I am. But it's too late. It's way too late.
So Rick apologizes for the forward.
for any offense I may give in the forward. Yes.
All right, Rick Springfield. For those who have joined late, Rick is driving down PCH right now. Not in flames, but definitely it's the winds, the high winds, and heading back and hoping
trying
this neighborhood
to get back and
is still
check
there.
in on the house. That's
and prayers of strength for everybody that's going through this. We've never seen anything like it. It looks like Pacific Palisades looks like the Nazis did a bombing run on London. It's absolutely total. There's nothing there but gray blocks of rubble.
It is. People are seeing the footage, and it is absolutely apocalyptic, without a doubt. Which is even more so, Rick. I know psychologically, people who aren't in the area, it's hard to imagine what this is, but the fire is so massive, and there are so many, and there's famous people, there's rich people, but there's everybody who is being affected by this, and everybody, you said it, we're all like sort of down about this. So
totally.
I'm looking at our conversation and this package as a little light coming. It's just a couple of
relief, some little comic relief.
I said that I put a post up on my social media things, and I had a little bit. I said it's devastating, and I'm thinking of moving, and I'd move to Texas, but there's a pretty serious dress code. Or I'd move to Vegas, but they obviously have a gambling problem. And I just threw some light in there, and I basically said, throw on a little bit of light into the darkness, because it's hard to get light right now where we are. Everybody is beyond devastated. Like whether a house burned or not, they're aware of the giant event that this is.
Yeah, for sure. And there are those whose house didn't burn down, that all the houses in the neighborhood burned down.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to let you go. I know that you're in the car, and I appreciate you taking some time with us.
But nice knowing you.
Good luck to all.
Don't say that.
Posted.
Ricky, don't be a hero.
Yeah, right.
But really, Rick, thank you for taking some time, and good luck. Stay safe and keep in touch.
Thank you, guys.
It's Sound Up, and as always, we love hearing from you guys, our Sound Up Pod Squad. We got a few questions this week, including this one from Natalie. Natalie asks, she says, "Hi, Mark and Alan. when is the Weeknd new album coming out? I think he's a great artist. Thank you, and enjoy your podcast very much.
Look at that.
Thank
Service journalism here. So,
right? I was going to say, you can Google that, but January 24th, 2025 is the official date.
Yeah, Hurry Up Tomorrow is out next week.
Right.
Next Friday, January 24th. And we talked about this a little when we talked about stuff coming this year. It is the Weeknd's 6th album, but it's the 3rd in this trilogy that he had said, coming off of After Hours and Dawn FM. And perhaps most interestingly, for better or worse, there is a feature film.
I'm a little nervous about that.
Psychological thriller that is coming in the spring that is attached to this project. Coming off of his experience with The Idol. We're going to see how that goes. But that's coming a few months down. So there'll be the album happening again next Friday. I too am looking forward to it. And then we'll see what this other extension, media extension looks like down the road. You sound very dubious about the whole proposition.
Aren't you?
Yeah, I gotta be convinced about the movie. That's for sure. That's it, I don't have to be convinced about the music.
The music, I'm ready. Great. So
it's a few years ago. Dawn FM. I loved that record, and I guess it was huge because everything he does is huge. I was surprised that wasn't huger, but maybe coming off of how unstoppable After Hours was, nothing was going to compete with that. But anyway,
for sure.
So yes, reminder, these questions, you can find us at connect@sounduppod.com, as these listeners did, to email in their questions and concerns. Actually, a series of questions from Ella. We can hit them one at a time. She has 3 questions here, so we'll just do it. Ella says, longtime listener, proud volumaniac. I've had some thoughts swirling in my head about ideas and topics I wish you would cover this year as it pertains to music. Number 1, if we want to get into this, as a New York City resident, this is on my mind. What do you think congestion pricing will do to change the dynamics of the live entertainment industry? Now that it costs more money from people from the outer boroughs and suburbs to drive into the city, will smaller venues suffer as a result from the loss of foot traffic? Myself, I'm less likely to travel from downtown Manhattan to, let's say, the Beacon Theater. Wonder if uptown folks will be less likely to spend the money to drive all the way downtown for venues. So not to get too lost in what right now is a local topic.
Yeah.
But as of the beginning of the year, a new congestion pricing plan, which is the way that it works in London and many other world capitals, puts an additional tax on cars coming into the city that will be used to help fund the mass transit system. I will say I am a big fan and advocate of all of this, which I think will greatly benefit many more people, greatly benefit everybody by having a better, more usable, and in better shape public transit. And we've seen that in other cities. Again, London has had this in place.
But do you think it's going to affect the business? I feel like it will to some extent, but I also think that there's a fair amount of people who already have been using public transport in this area.
I think the vast majority of people do. And I think if you make it better, safer, cleaner, more reliable, encourages more people to use it and makes it easier for them to get to music venues or restaurants or whatever else it is.
But I can't see how it wouldn't, to some extent, affect maybe the smaller venues that are in that area, which is
maybe. But I think the smaller venue. I mean, I don't. Are people driving? I think the Mercury Lounge constituency is probably not a driving constituency. Mm-hmm. I know there's been bigger concerns from like the high end restaurants because they have people driving into New Jersey to go to Bridge and Tunnel to go to La Caravelle or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. They're very worried about this because that's their audience much more. I don't think that the rock club audience. I think it's much more of a gain than a loss, and there's some transition, of course.
I'm with you on being in favor of it. I know it's painful. I think that there's some adjustments that could be made, and we can move on after this.
Yeah.
The fact that they're charging taxis, that I think is wrong. And there was another city, and maybe it was, I can't remember whether it was a city here in the U.S. that is using congestion pricing now, but before they enacted it, they created over 200 new bus lines and new networks. And I wish we would have done that here first.
Well, you need the money to do it. Where's the money going to come from? And as far as the taxis go, yes, there's a little bit of a fee on that, but also there should be a lot less traffic and they can move faster and the rate will, and the charge will come down because they're not sitting in traffic for, as long. And that should balance out what the extra 75 cents on the trip is. So anyway.
Can I just say, beware Chicago, beware maybe LA, beware other cities, because if it works here, it's coming to you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As it should. And as it will help, let's say, with the climate situation in those cities, what the pollution is, what the, all of these things. So,
all right.
Point 2 from Ella, all these celebrity-fronted tribute bands. And I actually hadn't thought about this as a thing. There's Hank Azaria's Bruce Springsteen, Easy Street, which I saw live at Brooklyn Bowl, and he's fantastic. We covered that as a news story. Hank Azaria, from the mostly known for his voices on The Simpsons, doing a Springsteen tribute. There's Michael Shannon's REM band, and now Bill Murray is covering The Clash and the Kinks. This is an interesting trend. You saw that Bill Murray is doing like a club tour where he's singing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just covers or if that falls into tribute band, territory, but
is he going to do it like his lounge singer
his
character?
Yes. That's the tour I'd like to go see. Nothing but Star Wars. Right. Yeah, that's
I think, I remember years ago we talked just about tribute bands alone
in general
being not cover bands, tribute bands.
Yeah.
That these guys tour and make serious money. Add in a celebrity in fronting the band. Yeah.
It's a huge economy. It is an interesting, I agree with you. It's an interesting trend. I guess that's kind of 2.5. They always say three is a trend, is the magazine rule. So let's see if somebody else jumps in. And then point number 3 from Ella. This one is excellent question. This one is super random, but as the parent of a high school senior, is it weird that I'm trying to influence her college choices based on where there's a vibrant music scene that I would personally want to go visit? That's not weird, is it? Anyway, thank you for all that you do. Looking forward to this year's pod, Ella.
Ella is genius. Genius.
You're only allowed to apply to schools if I sign
Nashville,
off
New Orleans,
on the
Chicago.
club scene. Austin is great. Chicago is fine. You're not going to, Iowa, to Grinnell in Iowa. That's not happening.
Exactly.
What every college student wants who goes away to college is their parents not only coming to visit more, but showing up in the clubs and venues around the town too. Excellent.
So they can go out to the shows. Yes, that's going to be totally comfortable and pleasant for everybody involved. I don't know. We've earned the right to manipulate our children's decision making based on our preferences and conveniences. Is that where we are? Is that what
I'm
going to
go with that? Yeah. Yeah.
Listeners weigh in on your experience.
Please.
Connect at sounduppod.com. Did you tip the scales on your kids' college plans or moving away plans based on what you could go out and do when you went to visit them? Let us know. We would love to hear from you.
If you didn't miss out like I did, that's a great suggestion going forward. Maybe you want to consider that.
Ella, we thank you for your insight.
For sure.
All right.
Let's before we wrap things up here, there's some great new music out, and we want to do our new music picks of the week.
Yeah.
We'll start off with you, Alan.
I will jump in. I've had a lot of stuff kind of disappointing this week. There was stuff that I was curious to listen to and then was like, nah.
Yeah.
I don't care about that. So I've just got one that I'm going to go with, which is a new song from our friends, the Warren Treaty, who we had back on the radio show and have continued to monitor their growth. They have an album coming out next week, or next month, coming out in February, but a single that came out called Save Me. Interesting to me, I went and checked the credits, and that the couple who are the Warren Treaty actually produced at least this track themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they did the full album. And it's kind of leaning even more into the countryside of what they do. I mean, they really sort of sit on a, right on the edge of a soul country thing.
Yeah.
that kind of leans one way or another. And I saw them open for Al Green, but we've also seen them show up at some of the big Nashville events and participate in that. So the music kind of, balances those elements. And this one is leaning pretty hard into the more country, weepy, not quite twangy side, which is interesting. I mean, I don't know that they're playing for radio play anywhere. Yeah. And it does seem like the Nashville community has been really interested in, bringing these guys, making them part of, the guys who show up for the awards shows and the tribute shows and all of that stuff. Yeah. But they are both such magnificent singers. I mean, that's really the thing there is to say. And if you remember the backstory, he was I forget
veteran.
Which war. If he was a veteran. He was
in Afghanistan, I think.
Afghanistan, I want to say.
Yeah. Or Iraq. One of the others, yeah.
That's right. Well, you got what I got. Was it Afghanistan or Iraq? I forget. And she was part of the medical team who he saw after he returned to the States, and they ended up falling in love and getting married and becoming this, musical entity. And as it happens, they are both incredible vocalists. So if you have not checked for The War and Treaty, the new song is Save Me. The album's out next month, and that's my call this week.
I got a couple. I wanted to mention an artist that I have come to love over the years. And he's somewhat odd. Alejandro Rose Garcia, who you may know better, and I know better as Shaky Graves.
Yeah. I didn't see there was new Shaky Graves music. Oh.
There is a new song called Coupe de Ville, which has been out a bit, but it is part of this 10-year anniversary, a re-release of And the War Came, his second album. And there's a bunch of tracks that were not contained on the album that I'm assuming were from those sessions, but I'll say that the Coupe de Ville, which is out now as a single, is just great from Shaky Graves. So I'm excited about that one.
I'm got to go check it out straight away. I didn't notice that one.
This is an Austin artist, and he's a guy who there's actually a Shaky Graves Day in Austin.
That's right.
That's how popular this dude is down there. Also, there's some new music from an artist that I'll be straight and say I was marginally interested in. That's being honest. I mean, she comes and goes. Bishop Briggs, her album, I love the title, Tell My Therapist I'm Fine, is the name of her current album. And the latest single is My Serotonin. And this makes me crack up because I'm dealing with a lot of people in my life now who all of a sudden have become aware of the ADHD syndrome. So there's all kinds of, I need my serotonin, and you have to do these special things so that your brain releases I don't know. But Bishop Briggs wrote My Serotonin when she had, for the first time in 24 hours, a 24-hour stretch of time without her new baby. So she did give birth over this last couple of months. The song is about this complete and total change after not only the birth of her baby, but also the passing of her sister. She was noticing that the relationships around her as she got older and older were changing as well. And she pointed out, you're either growing with me or you're not. That's what My Serotonin is about. And finally, a quick one, Beach Weather, who I think I've mentioned before, a great Boston band. And their biggest song was Sex, Drugs, Etc. This was a big one in 23, I want to say. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with 23. But the second album, Melt, came out towards the end of last year. The track that they have out now is not on the album. These guys have released several EPs as well over the years. This is only, they're a couple of albums in. So 2 albums in. So Seth Cohen is the name of the new song from Beach Weather, which just that in and of itself cracked me up.
This is great.
I think I know a kid named Seth Cohen. I went to junior high.
I went to camp with Seth Cohen. I'm sure that you did.
So Beach Weather, that's my last one. Roger, what do you got?
So, I had a hard time finding something. Again this week, it wasn't a great week as far as I'm concerned, but we did get a second single from Sabrina Teitelbaum, better known as Blonde Shell.
Sabrina Teitelbaum and Seth Cohen definitely went to camp together.
Are they?
So anyway, she released a new song from her upcoming album. The album's called If You Asked for a Picture. It's coming out, I think, May 2nd. She released a song called What's Fair, I think, back in August. And her new single, which just came out, is called TNA. And she tells
Stereo Gum.
There's a Rolling Stones song on Tattoo You called Little TNA. And at one point in the song, he says tits and ass. So I'm borrowing that. I think in music, it's easy to see things as either more sexualized or romantic. And I wanted this to be both. I see it as a love story, maybe not the most fairy tale love story, but I wanted it to feel like a really narrative song. I think it's a great song. I love her vocal delivery, which is uniquely, almost totally emotionless and emotional at the same time. It's just odd how she can pull that off. And it's just a great song. And she's just very unique in the way she tells a story. And I'm real excited for this record.
We had not discussed it, but I specifically didn't bring this up because I figured that Roger was going to. I know that I'm also a fan. I know that he is a fan. So it all works out in the end.
Yes, and I will check to see if they actually did a 10 camp together. We'll confirm that.
Okay. All right. Well, that wraps it up for us. I hope you enjoyed. We had a blast doing this. Great talking to Rick Springfield. Many thanks for him joining us. And that wraps up this edition, the second edition of Sound Up for 2025. You can check us out on socials for exclusive content and more, all at Sound Up Pod.
You can please give us a 5-star review, like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube page, and email us, as you just heard several of our listeners did. You can do it with words. You can do it as a voice memo. We love to hear from you at connect@sounduppod.com.
Sound Up is hosted by Mark Goodman and Alan Light, produced by Roger That Media, distributed by Revolver Podcasts. Theme music by Smile from Tokyo. For more information, go to sounduppod.com.